minutes, Jim Nixon.
Louise seconded. Just ask for a roll call now. Go down the list, yay or nay.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. So roll call for all in favor, Jim Nixon.
Yes.
Okay, David Purvis,
Yes.
Louise Pavlin,
Yes.
Tony Cox,
Yes.
Michelle Austin,
Yes.
Jeremy Kendrick,
Yes.
Kirk Ligdis,
Yes.
Steve Kaprensky.
Non-voting.
Okay. I motion that we approve the minutes. Moving on. The next is the financials that David Purvis provided.
I've read them, but I'm trying to find them. Basically, the only thing, the change, we had a dip in income, obviously, because we've had our events been postponed, but we're in pretty solid shape. We've got significant cash, not significant, enough cash reserves to last us probably at least 6 months. And then we've got the only expense we had that was an increase is really in advertising, which is part of our core mission. So we're in pretty good shape.
And I did see the letter where we were denied the Sba Disaster Loan. Did we even get the $10,000 for that to be part of our financials, or we denied everything?
No, well, we can do that now. We received a $1,000 initial payment that will be considered a grant, and we're denied the going forward with the program. Mainly because we just don't have enough employees, and my position as a contractor is difficult to for them to justify as an employee, and we didn't. Our numbers probably were so low on the application I filled out, there's just no reason to go forward with it. They did that all analysis on their own and sent me that letter yesterday. But we can keep the $1,000 that they gave us.
Okay. And when I'm looking at the profit and loss from the previous year, that $11,000 in sponsorship, that's just because our Taste of Farragut has been postponed.
Correct.
Okay. Does anybody else have any? Hi, Mayor.
Hi there.
Anybody else have any questions on the financials to discuss?
None.
Okay. So a motion to approve financials.
So moved.
I'll second. Tony Cox.
Going to go roll call down, please. All in favor, Jim Nixon,
Yes.
David Purvis,
Yes.
Louise Pavlin,
Yes.
Tony Cox,
Yes.
Michelle Austin,
Yes.
Jeremy Kendrick,
Yes.
Kirk Ligdis.
Yes.
Okay. So the motion to approve financials has been made. Next, Content Committee. I know Tony has to head out for a meeting early. Tony, is there anything you'd like to share?
So what I did is I pulled numbers from March 15th through May 15th for our Facebook and Twitter accounts. Really had some interest in trying to find out what we looked like during that time period, because all news reports are that social media climbed pretty significantly during that time period. Our total reach during that time period was 6,654 users on our Facebook page. We had an average daily reach of about 109 people. All this is organic. There's nothing there that was paid, mainly because we didn't have anything that required any additional advertising going forward like we normally do with events. We would have been advertising the health and the health expo, but obviously we haven't been able to pull that off. During that time period, Shop Farragut's content appeared on 15,123 user screens. That's both phone and computer screens, with an average daily appearance of that content of 247 persons or 247 users. Total numbers during that time period of visitors who visited the Shop Farragut page was about 200 visitors who actually decided that going to Shop Farragut was a really important thing to do. During that same time period for Twitter, in May we had 2,512 impressions. April we had 4,999, and in March we had 7,594 impressions. Our top tweets during that time period had everything to do with curbside, online, or delivery. For people just trying to find out what was going on. And as I looked at those numbers, I actually was a little bit surprised because I thought that the numbers would be significantly higher. But really, from that, I've kind of come around with these three observations. You judge for yourself. For Shop Farragut on Facebook, our top posts, both paid and organic, have everything to do with Farragut business events. Okay, so it has everything to do with a new business opening, a grand opening, a ribbon cutting, and items like that. We had none of those during that time period, and so without those, we didn't really have the coverage or the sharing that goes on, or the reactions from Facebook users. There's also a lot of post overlap. So during this time period, there were multiple duplicating sources of information out there. The Farragut West Knox Chamber did a fantastic job with their COVID-19 information, open for business, curbside and delivery, the general COVID-19 information for businesses regarding the PPP and the SBA information. And a lot of that content was the same things that that was being shared from our social media posts. And the neighborhoods were also active during that time period. Some of the neighborhoods were doing soliciting orders for food trucks to come through, but they were also doing neighborhood posts about we're going to get an order from this restaurant or that restaurant, and going from there. There was even one neighborhood that was doing toilet paper sightings during that same time period. If you want a little bit of humor for anything COVID, there it is. And then again, going back to it, we didn't have anything to promote like we normally do. Our events are highly anticipated by the Farragut community and people who surround the Farragut community. We're just like everybody else. We didn't have anything that we could do. So those are just my observations. Again, take from that what you want. But I think it's just the state of where we are right at this moment. We're just like everybody else. We were pretty much closed, So that's it. Any questions?
I wanted to add about our website. During this period of time, also, we had almost 1,000 page views with 580 unique visitors. I'm assuming they're all going to the COVID-19 page I set up that just lists the businesses and what they're doing, whether they had any specials going on or changed their hours or had drive-through or whatever. The unique thing about it is that there has been a drop-off. We were doing amazing, hits back in March and early April. But as this moves along, it starts drifting off. And I think people just have COVID overload. And I have had a few spikes on the website, usually after I send out an email, which I've been doing at least one every 2 weeks with updates and also pushing the town sampler contest.
Should we be sending emails on a more frequent basis with things changing as rapidly as they are?
there's not a lot changing with the businesses. There's things changing maybe with government and that, but there's overload there, and I don't know exactly what information I can repost without stepping on other people's information piles. What we have been doing, though, is I've been sending out directly emails each week to the businesses. And this also is directly business related because the town of Farragut has started the Open for Business campaign and what have you. And I'll talk a little bit more of that in my report. So, yeah, the emails on constant, on MailChimp, they're more fluff. And when I get information from the businesses, I'll put that in there and put links to other businesses. But it's more of a shopping thing rather than a direct business information email.
Okay, so does anybody else have any issues or questions about our Facebook, Instagram, or website? Nope. Okay. On to the director's report, please. The COVID update. Take it away, please.
Okay, well, this segues right into what's going on currently. Of course, everybody saw the announcement that the 26th of May will move into phase 2. Water into Wine can go to capacity. A lot of different things happening. The pool's going to open and different things that I'm going to ask the businesses to send me any updates that they have, and that'll just refresh my pages. But the big thing is that the town, through the tourism department, has started the Open for Business Farragut initiative. And I'm assuming, is Sue on? Sue Stool here this morning?
Don't look like it.
I'm here.
Oh, you are? Great.
I'm here. I'm just not on camera. So
I thought you were lurking back there. So the campaign has focused on the Visit Farragut.org website, and there's a spreadsheet in there updating all the businesses and contact information. Plus, the Open for Business campaign, which they developed a Facebook page for businesses. It's a private group to send information, and there'll be an ad campaign start. It's in the making right now, and I can let Sue talk about the 5 districts and how they plan to move forward with that. I'm assisting with them the best I can to get the word out and have been sending out applications.
yeah, so Wendy's here with me too, Wendy Smith. And we have five business districts is what we're calling them. They are just 5 areas that we've separated out. And we had done that last year for the one of the big conferences that was in town, and a map that we did. Starting on June 11th, there will be ads about every other couple weeks in the Farragut Press, some TV ads, there's some radio, there's a big variety of things that are happening. And the Farragut Press ads will actually be co-op ads that we've helped ask Steve to help us get that word out, so that we will pay for the majority of it, but these businesses can buy small signature ads that give a little bit of information, but they're extremely inexpensive. Wendy's been working with Tony on that. So there's overall advertising about doors or opening in Farragut and promoting our businesses. And there's a big, the whole summer is planned out for that. But then there's this immediate shopping district campaign that will start. And that deadline, and the first one is the Campbell Station Shopping District, which is the west side of Campbell Station to Kingston Pike, all the way to the town limits. And that deadline for those ads are June 4th. And we appreciate that he's helping us get this information out, along with just getting businesses to send us their contact and their information so that we can update that Visit Farragut website, which has been transitioned into a reopening for Farragut Business website for the time being.
Yeah. There's definitely a core group of businesses that are taking advantage of it. And I believe the Visit Farragut database is now over 200 businesses, which are basically active retailers and restaurants, which is good. Very good. The reopenings seem to be going well. I don't know how many of you have gotten out, but last Saturday, my wife and I went out to Seasons Restaurant, and I would say 95% of the patrons there were all in the high-risk group, but they were all out there trying to enjoy a great meal, and it was a beautiful evening, and I think people are ready to get out to the businesses. This month, I have had Shop Farragut branding, advertising with Pete Michaels Traffic. I hope you've heard some of that.
We have.
Yeah, Pete has been pushing that. He gave me an extremely good deal compared to his normal rates in order to pull that off. And I've held off on any other advertising until this. I coordinate with the town on the campaign for open for business. All right. Moving on to the Health and Wellness Expo. After last month, there was a transition to hold the date at August 8th. All of the participants, except one, was able to move to the new date. People are more excited about it, and I continue to get calls about this event. It'll be interesting to see where we're at that time, but we will be past phase 3. We will be past the 100-person gathering point at that time. I don't know if we'll need to buy masks or anything like that, but it should be at a point where we can actually move people through the expo.
I would suggest that we do buy masks and have them available and advertise that they're available for those who feel they need them, even if we're not required to wear them. I think it'd make your attendees probably more comfortable. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody's going to be a little bit gun shy for a while.
Okay, well, I'm just planning ahead of where it's at. I've been monitoring other businesses and other activity in the Knox County and surrounding areas about who's got activity going on. But August seems to be a good starting point. Tennessee Theater has a couple of events planning in August, so does the Bijou. Everything pretty much through July has, end of July, there's a couple of, I guess, events being planned or still on the books for local nonprofit fundraisers and things like that. But August seems to be the breaking point for most assemblies. That being said, any questions about the expo?
Steve, this is David. I was just going to say that if you wanted some free masks, the health department has some right now. You could contact them. And we just got about 75, I think Trevor did last week. So they'll give you quite a few. if you need some.
Okay. I'm wondering about getting branded face masks.
That'll be a little different. Yeah, you probably for those. So
Shop Farragut, you know? Write that down.
Hey, Steve, on your next bullet, you said dog days August 14th, and down below you've got future meetings July 16th.
Oh, yeah, but that's the content of that meeting, talking
Okay,
about
okay.
that.
All right, thanks. So we're having the Expo on the 8th, and on the 14th, Dog Day starts?
Right. Dog Days is August 14th through 16th. And the next deposit needs to be paid here the 1st of June. We normally they want 50% down, but since we started, we've only paid them a quarter at a time. And so the next 25% of the fee goes in by June 1. In the meantime, however, Doc Dogs International has upgraded our regional competition to what they call a wild card. What that means is that they're going to up the ante on the points, mainly because they lost so many of their competitions throughout the country during this COVID period. And we're one of the last ones before moving on to the World Championships. So by making us a wild card, we're going to attract more of the heavy duty dogs who haven't had a chance to get their points. So this may turn out to be one of the biggest ones we've had, at least on the competing side, but it's definitely a good point for advertising. Kind of excited about that so we can get the word out moving. Any questions about Dog Days?
Have we had any luck getting a title sponsor?
No, in fact, I'm just waiting to get the confirmation to move ahead because this is a TDS event, and I've been in conversation with Jeremy and his counterparts over there at TDS, and they're our premier sponsor on this. So I'm ready to move on everything. I've just been tentative to get into negotiation on final numbers until we had this meeting.
Steve,
Yeah.
Water and Wine going to be able to sell beer like we did last year? Is that still the plan for this event? So I need to start planning for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, because we've lost Music Fest, which was another a beverage opportunity, this would be one that we definitely want to have available.
Candace, are you going to sell wine and beer, or just beer?
Last year I did beer and I did those White Claw vodka spritzers. And then I did a white wine and a red wine. So I'll probably do the same type of thing. We didn't sell much wine, to tell you the truth. It was too hot. People were wanting to buy the canned beer and the White Claws and things like that. So I might just bring some white wine, or maybe have Kevin make his wine slushies that are like blowing us out the doors right now with sales. People are sucking those up like crazy. So figure out getting some power over there and doing the blender and bringing the blender and having Kevin set up his wine slushies. That might be an easy way to be able to sell wine that people would enjoy when it's 100 degrees outside.
Hey, Candace, I vote for the wine slushies.
Okay, Sue.
No, I just think it's good to have a selection because, every event we've ever done where it's just wine or just beer, always somebody wanted the other thing, because a lot
Of course.
So
Yeah. Yep. I'll make it happen.
Yeah, and I have to go to the state and get a special license for that, but it's worth it. And really, our events are all about the value added to make sure that we have, the good porta potties and the extra little food vendors and what have you. So,
well, I think your attendance might be very, very good this year, with considering it's an outdoor event. and people still be skittish, maybe indoor events and things like that. But plus, the raising the level of the competition and competitors that may draw more attention as well.
Well, I continue to get phone calls every day about our events. There's vendors out there just dying to get involved. So I don't see a problem of filling up the space because they've lost so much time with their other activities that they normally would do. So Taste of Farragut, I just haven't started on it again, but now that we've got the date, I'm ready to go all out on that. And did Kevin join us yet? Kevin Morrison?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, well, I need to talk with you, I guess, about the Taste of Farragut. And now that we're moving ahead on the health and wellness, we'll get that all taken care of. The plan was to have the health and wellness in the winter months, but since it's got all screwed up with the virus and the planning, a while ago I had asked Sue Stool to hold January 30 of 21 for me for another event. The town graciously gives us 2 events free at the community center. So, not to just cancel the expo that I had already received payment from, and all these vendors were excited about, moving the health and wellness to this August time period, which we can reconsider next year. I wanted to move forward on keeping a January event, and that's where the idea of a Shop Farragut business fair comes up. I've worked on a new logo for it, but it would be just an open business fair for Farragut businesses. There on Saturday, January 30th. It would be at the community center. And if gyms and any business could get involved in it, but we'd use the entire center to host this new Shop Farragut business fair. Anyone understand what I'm trying to do here?
Yes, Steve, as someone who works this is Louise, as someone who works in the fitness and understands how people are thinking that time of year, I really think we need to put the health and wellness in January. I know that we're trying to do this what was planned for March or whatever, but I think we need to move that to January and maybe have a business fair in August or something. But I really think that health and wellness needs to be in January, and January 30th, quite frankly, is a little late. Closer to the middle of the month, I think, would be more effective. But for not just for the gyms, but for anything, people are looking to change their lives, and we need to. If we want this to be good for the businesses, that's the time to do it.
Well, I need to talk to Sue about availability, but if everybody's on board, we can go ahead and have the second health and wellness in January. I can negotiate a date with Sue and then look at a date for a business fair sometime later in the year. If that's what you're recommending. Any questions?
This is Kevin. I would just second what Louise said around the basically having the health and wellness. I'd like to get a more firm date and agree that probably middle of January is what we want to target and make that an annual event similar to the Taste of Farragut.
Okay.
I agree. By January 30th, I've already fallen off the wagon on all my New Year's resolutions. So, I mean, if you don't, you got to do it earlier in the month, I think. I'm over it. Candace's, I'm over water and wine, stuff and cheese in my mouth on the 30th.
Michelle, you're cracking me up.
Okay, I will talk to Sue and I'll find some dates and get back to everybody about that. But we will target health and wellness for January of next year. And with that, the only thing coming up that is not on the agenda, but I wanted to talk about is I'm sure David will talk about the budgeting process for the town, which they're in the middle of right now, and us having to submit a budget for next year, fiscal year. And we'll also have re-upping of board members during the June meeting. So that's the only other business that I have.
Okay, does anybody have any more questions for Steve about any of the events that we just talked about? Okay, moving on to the Town of Farragut report. David Smoke, are you there?
I am. Thanks, Candace.
No problem.
Yeah, just a few things to cover with you. I think obviously we heard from Dr. Buchanan that we're going to be opening up Knox County a little earlier starting next week. We're planning to open Town Hall as soon as we can. We've been putting precautions here in our building. Obviously, we've been here every day, but just the public hasn't been able to access our building or the community center. So those are some of the things that we're working through right now to make sure we're ready to go whenever we do open. Obviously, the COVID count out here has been relatively low. I mean, we've had, I think, one new case over a 3-week period, and then we had 6 last week. So that's actually, with us being open, pretty wide open for a lot of businesses here the last couple of weeks. So that's been encouraging that the case count has been low, and I'm sure that's part of the reason why Dr. Buchanan agreed to go ahead and get things opening up a little faster, which is great for everybody. We do have tonight the Planning Commission meeting, and so the Planning Commission is going to be a WebEx meeting just similar to what we're doing now. But a couple items I think that were interesting for the FBA to talk through, or at least know about, are one is we have a concept plan and a little more renderings for the old Kroger redevelopment and the whole site out there, trying to make that into really a town center feel. And so there's going to be really an overall concept plan for the Planning Commission to give some feedback to the developer on tonight, and just see kind of what direction they need to go in. I think once they receive this feedback, it'll probably be a couple months, but they would come back with more concrete concept plans, as well as probably a few text amendments, maybe even some zoning amendments that they're asking for the Planning Commission and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to consider. So that's been encouraging. They've been continuing on, even though all these things are going on in the world. They really feel like this project's a good project and want to keep it going.
Will that be on television? Will that be on cable TV?
It will be, yeah. So if you watch the 2 cable channels, either TDS or Charter, you can get that at home. We upload those meetings to YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, so you can always watch that maybe a day or two after the meeting's over. It takes us it depends on how long the meeting goes. It depends on how long it takes to download. But anyway, we try to get those out on our YouTube channel shortly thereafter. Another concept plan that we have tonight is for the property next to Dixie Lee Liquors over at the corner of Watt Road and Kingston Pike. It's about an 1.5 acre, maybe 2 acre piece of property, and there's a concept there that the Myers brothers are looking at to put a couple buildings on right there in front of Cool Sports. So the Planning Commission again will have some feedback to give them about that tonight. And then final one that we've been working on for several months, and Steve's been helping us as well as a lot of members of the community, is our sign ordinance. We had to come back and really look at our sign ordinance. The Supreme Court had really a few years ago now about content, that you can't have content in your sign ordinance. Well,
David, excuse me just a moment. David Purvis, can you put your computer on mute? We can hear you typing and we can't hear David.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a bad boy.
you're a very loud typer, evidently. Hunt and peck works well. So yes, so we've been working on the sign ordinance with the changes. It's been quite a while since we've done a really overall comprehensive review of our sign ordinance. And so we're going to be presenting that to the Planning Commission tonight. Again, we've had a lot of review with our sign ordinance committee. We've been able to get a lot of feedback, which has been great. And so that'll go to the Planning Commission tonight, assuming they approve that. Then it'll go to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for a 2-reading ordinance process after that. Couple other things we've got next week is our Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting. Again, that'll be via WebEx as well, but that will be our first reading of our budget for next year. That's another 2-reading process. The money for the FBA is all in there. So we have another $70,000 allocated in the budget for the FBA. And I think we have a balanced budget. We certainly have a few things I'm sure the board's going to want to talk about on various items. But overall, even with everything that's going on around us, we've had to cut back significantly this year and next year, but we've still been able to balance our budget and maintain our service levels. So that's at least been encouraging. It'll be a big blip in the road, and especially we don't know what the state's going to do either. They're going to be reconvening next week, and so when they start getting back in session, the state has to cut about $1 billion out of their budget. The last time they had to cut a lot of money out of their budget, they cut to local governments several years ago. So we're hoping that doesn't happen again this time, but we're going to be watchful and mindful and try to do our best to just make sure we can maintain what we have right now. And then the other thing that the board did at the last meeting, so we'll have second reading of this next week, is to delay the implementation of the hotel-motel tax. And I think back in January, when things looked great, the board implemented the tax to start on June 1st. Obviously, with everything that's been going on in the world, they delayed that 3 months. So we've pushed that back to start implementing in September of this year to try to give the hotels a little more time to, obviously recover and come back once people start hopefully traveling a little bit more in the next 2 or 3 months. So that's another thing that we've done recently with businesses. We also have had the temporary signs, as many have seen around town, that we've allowed businesses to do through the end of this month. So, we'll obviously look at that at that point. But that's been another thing to try to help just get more people out and about and realize, hey, we're open, businesses are open, we're ready for you to come back. So with that, I can try to answer any questions anybody's got. Of course, the mayor and Louise always could add a few things too if they like.
You pretty well covered it, David.
And I have nothing to add.
I do want to thank the town and the codes enforcement people being rather lenient in getting these signs out. I do know that the people that took advantage of it are very appreciative also, even though some of them are way off our normal recommendations and specifications. So thank you.
Okay, so thank you, David, for that, and Mayor and Louise. What about any new business? Is there anything I saw the phase 2 updates personally for the that just came out. I know we're still waiting for some items. Mayor, do you have any suggestions or anything would you like to add that's coming? Supposedly we were going to be getting the full, if you will, I've been calling it the COVID Bible, with all the lists of things that I have to do. But with phase 2, the way I'm reading it and understanding it, we still are going to have a maximum of 50 guests, indoor and outdoor event venues. The bar can be open, but with 6 foot distancing. There's still going to be a lot of guidelines. Do you know if the restaurants and businesses and gyms are going to get another phase 2 that's really specific, or do I can just kind of do what I want to do and read an email and open business? What's your thoughts?
Well, of course, I've made numerous calls about concerns as far as the continuing curbside, which is a lot of people are not really ready to go sit down yet in a restaurant. But I think the ones that's been all of the restaurants' biggest followers will continue with curbside for some time to come, and I know that that's still a big part of your business, but it will, I'm sure, start to decrease as they open it up more. The bar concern is something that we're a little gray area on, and I hope that we'll get a little bit clearer picture on tomorrow. But if not, again, there's a lot of people lobbying Nashville, and for the ones that don't have Bill Lee's email address, I do have it. So if you want to send him an email and voice your concerns, he is a listener. So, but at this moment, we don't know much more. I know what the Knox County's mayor wants to do, and I know what the city mayor wants to do, and they're a little bit different. But I'm hoping that we'll come to an understanding that it'll be the same across the board. But of course, we're in tune with what the health department recommends in Farragut. So with that, I don't know. David may have some other information that I don't have.
Okay, well, again, what I was, I think I sent you an email this morning, but just because I'm allowed to be open at 100% capacity, if I still have 6 foot distancing at the bar and 6 foot distancing without tables, I am not at 100% capacity. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands, just because we're open at 100%, no, we're not. That's a
Well,
lie. So
okay.
I just, I want to make sure everybody understands that.
Well, one of the things that that I consider gray areas is if they go to 100% sit down and don't mention the bar, then that's where we're at. But by kind of reading between the lines, it says you could have the bar open as long as you're doing distancing. But if you don't have a very big bar, that's counterproductive. So you really have to, and most people don't. It's not like the old days when you had great big bars and small areas. But I think going forward, you're going to see a lot of people pushing to open the bars up, as far as you may see every other seat or something like that. But right now, it specifically says a group and then distancing. And, you know, in your case, that's probably not even worth the effort. But hopefully, with a little bit more clarity, well, that's one of the things I'm asking him. So Brandon's supposed to get back with me this afternoon or in the morning.
And as far as retailers go, with the other businesses, Michelle, do you have any information about JCPenney and if you guys are expected to open? I know Louise Gym, I'd like to hear how you're doing, if you've been able to open, and any other businesses that would like to share. What are you seeing? Do you think people are starting to come out? I know I'm starting to see it. Last night we were full and had to turn people away. So I know it's coming around slowly, but Michelle, do you have any information about Penny's opening up?
Westtown opened up yesterday. So they are opening, that was the first one in Knoxville. There's one more opening next week in our area. It's not me. I can't say which one it is yet because the associates haven't been told. They don't get told till Sunday. So I thought I was hoping I would be on the next week's crowd, but I'm not because that list was announced. I'm hoping I'm the following week, but I should be any minute. They're opening over 100 a week now. I don't have the rhyme or reason of who's getting open when. You just get a call. So I'm ready. I think I've been out also, and it seems like there's people out and ready to shop. So I'm ready to open up, obviously. But I really don't have an answer for you on when. But I know the stores that have opened have been pretty busy. There's 2 in Nashville open right now. There's 2 open, and there's another one getting ready to open. And of course, Westtown opened yesterday, and he was pretty busy.
This is Jim Nixon. I can tell you a little bit about that if you'd like to hear.
Go ahead, Jim.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay. Of course, Penny's has filed for bankruptcy in bankruptcy court in South Texas. There's a little over 800 Penny stores, and I've already announced they're going to close about 250. There are continuing dates in June and July for reporting about which stores are going to be closed. We do not know at this point anything about our lease with Penny's. It is a property that Turkey Creek Land Partners owns, and Penny's owns the building on top of our land. So they have not notified us. There's a conference call today that one of our guys is on, and we may find out a little bit of something here shortly, but they can reject our lease or they can accept our lease within the bankruptcy court, and we do not know how that will turn out. And it will be some time before we will know how that might turn out. So we're continuing to monitor the bankruptcy court and monitor our emails and communications with Penny's. And just like we heard a few minutes ago, they are opening some stores. They were supposed to have opened 120 or something yesterday, and obviously Turkey Creek was not one of those. So there'll be what they call a DIP, debtor in possession, and the bankruptcy court will determine what happens over the long course of action, along with other lenders and people of interest. All of that's a public record that you can look it up if you want to read the 118-page report. But anyway, we're continuing to monitor that, and if there's any information that we can provide, we'll be happy to do that. And if you have any questions, you can let me know.
If you know anything, I'd love to know. So that sounds great. Thanks.
Well, we will know sometime, I believe, in mid to late June, because Penny's has to file a lease plan, what they're going to do with each space, each lease that they have. And all of the creditors that Penny's owes money to, which is extremely substantial amount.
Yeah.
All of that's public. That's all public knowledge. But as soon as they file that for the lenders to look at, then I'm sure that will be made available to the landlords that are affected, of which we would just be one of the several hundred that Penny's has leases from.
Right.
And I'll give you an update on Anytime Fitness. We opened under their guidelines and shortly thereafter, found that most of our members are not interested in wearing a mask when they work out. So shocking. It's like trying to wear a mask when you eat. And it makes the guidelines don't make much sense to me. So we have decided to designate 1 hour in the morning, 8 to 9, for our clients, our members who really want to work out in a environment where everybody's wearing a mask. So we've let everyone know, if you come between 8 and 9, you're going to be wearing a mask. Otherwise, what we basically do, because I've been working out, we steer clear of each other. We clean all of our equipment. Everybody's equipped with a spray bottle with cleaner and a rag of their own. They clean the equipment before they use it. They clean the equipment after they use it. We steer clear of each other. We have to be manned. We have to have someone there, staff there to be open. Usually, what we have is we're staffed 10 to 7 most days, and then people can key fob in. They still key fob in, but we are open from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then we have shortened hours on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Apparently, our hours are a little bit more generous than the other two Anytime Fitnesses, so we're getting a lot of their members coming to our gym during the off hours when they're not open, but that's fine. That's what Anytime Fitness is supposed to be about. So it's our regulars are back. We're still not, I don't see a lot of people. We're never, at least in the morning, we're not crowded. We are limited to a max of 30 people. And when I checked in last, we hadn't even hit that at any particular time. So it's moving along. We're limping along. I'm not entirely sure how long we'll be able to sustain this, but we're hanging in there. We're trying to keep people motivated. We have keep on challenges, and we do kind of in-house stuff like what you were doing, Candace. Just trying to keep everybody together and keep things going. We're still doing yoga online because we're not allowed to have group classes yet. So hopefully that'll evolve. But we're work in progress. But thank you for asking.
No problem. I want everybody to be okay. So in phase 2, yoga classes were not allowed to be open yet, Louise?
I haven't looked yet, and I know that the small businesses like the yoga studios
Right.
have requested a little bit a different look because they do this one size fits all stuff, which is very frustrating because even Planet Fitness, they have a ton of equipment. They have a ton of cardio equipment. That's their thing. And so, but we're not like that. We're a pretty well-rounded gym, but we're smaller, but we still have a lot of square footage. So to try to put these, well, you're the same way. They try to put these one size fit all rules into place, and it doesn't work. And people just end up getting really, really angry because you don't know the business owners and the people that are participating. They don't know what's going on, and they're just getting frustrated because they feel like all that's happening is their chains keep getting yanked. So it's be nice to find that new normal and get there.
Hey, Louise, going forward, how many people you think are going to be transitioned to doing online yoga, online exercise classes?
Oh, I don't think that's gonna, I don't, that's why people join gyms.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we could all work out at our homes and be inspired by that, we would. But I can't stand working out in my house. We have an elliptical downstairs. It's a coat hanger as far as I'm concerned. Because I can't do it. So I don't think most people, I think at this time everybody was nervous and they were kind of stuck at home, so that was their opportunity to kind of bridge the distance. But I don't think that's going to be something that takes hold.
I agree. I'm seeing a lot of people coming out to the restaurant, and of course they're mad at me because the bar's not open when they just left Chesapeake's and their bar is open because Mike Chase refuses to follow the rules regardless. But I keep kind of telling everybody, they could get the alcohol to go and they could do the curbside wine slushies, but everybody wants the wine slushies inside the restaurant because they just want to sit and actually see someone other than their husband and their 4-year-old. So yeah, people are getting over it very quickly. Are there any other businesses that would like to chime in and talk about anything you're seeing or issues or concerns that you're worried about that our mayor can take to his meeting that needs to be heard from any of us? I know, Louise, you would like some more guidelines. I definitely want fairness and guidelines. If the city bars are going to be able to open at 100%, so do I. I don't think that's fair, and you guys want my tax dollars. So I hope someone's fighting for me because I don't really want to sue Mike Chase. But, you know, I've got a couple attorneys that are ready to go after him. And again, I don't want to do all that. And then Michelle, hopefully everything opens up for you at JCPenney's. Are there any other businesses that have concerns they would like to share while we have our mayor?
Can I ask, Kevin, have you guys returned to doing elective surgeries? Are you guys moving back to a little bit of normalcy?
Yeah, it's certainly starting to get there. So we started back actually May 4th. So whenever the original executive order was lifted, kind of the 1st of May, we started that Monday following. Definitely been a slow road back. It's kind of been percentage-wise. So first week, I'd say probably 60% of what our previous state was. And then it's kind of incrementally grown. Right now, we're still kind of holding at about 70, technically it's 78% of what we used to be, just from an overall revenue standpoint and volume. Certainly, it's picked up quite a bit. There was a big backlog, of course, of those non-essential surgeries that were delayed. So we're starting to work kind of through all of those. What we do feel is coming, though, there's still kind of sentiment within the community of basically hospitals are not exactly the safest place, which is, I mean, obviously quite the contrary. Frankly, now it's probably safer than we have ever been, and cleaner than we have ever been. But there's still a community perception of staying away. Just for example, a leading indicator of that, of course, is ER volume. ER volume, and this is across Knox County, and EMS volume is down. It's running at about 60% of previous rates, which is just concerning from a health population because again, that just means they're delaying care, and basically some of those simple things to fix will end up basically deteriorating further, and then ultimately end up into a higher acuity case, which we started to see in our ICUs. So we're trying to get that message out. That basically don't delay care. This is a safe place, and I know, I mean, UT Covenant, we're aligned with them. We actually meet with them 3 times a week to try and align our message and get that message out to the community. But it's definitely a slow road ahead, and like I said, I guess from an overall standpoint, we're at about 78% of where we used to be.
I think that story does need to get out, Kevin, about certainly the same as I think our gym is as clean as it's ever been, of course, from what we're doing and what the members are doing. So I don't doubt that you guys are taking that very, very seriously. So I think that is a message that I didn't hear, and I agree with you that is a concern, and that needs to be addressed. But I appreciate you guys' efforts.
Okay, so it looks like we've gotten through the entire agenda. Are there any other questions or concerns at this time that anybody has? Okay, does somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay.
And Trevor, this was recorded?
Yes, this was recorded.
Oh, okay.
So I'll send it to Jane to post on YouTube.
Wonderful.
Oh, great. I'm going to get called out on YouTube for typing during the meeting. Thanks.
Well, can we edit it?
I want this on the record. I was typing to send a message to Mr. Smoke.
You guys have a great day. Thank you, everybody, for joining the meeting. We'll see you.
See everybody.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you.